It's Christmas time. Oh, hello, everybody. It's me, Chris Smith, and I'm here today to review Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical, the new musical comedy, which I saw on June 30th, 2024. The last day that it was playing at the Hollywood Pantages Theater in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Oh, Hollywood, California. Um, and look what's marvelous. We got the playbill with the rainbow pride flag on the, or not really flag, but the rainbow banner on the top behind the playbill logo. I just always love getting those. It only happens in June. If you're lucky and you see a show that was playing in June and you see it in early July, it might still have some of the ones because they can't just. These are expensive, I'm sure. You can't just throw them out. You want to keep using them. But I always love getting that. And of course, here is Mrs. Doubtfire. Um, Now this was it was a 1993 movie with Robin Williams and Sally Field, and Pierce Brosnan was in it. In the movie, Daniel and Miranda are getting a divorce because he is sort of like a child, and they have three children together, and he is like another child to poor Miranda. So eventually they divorce, and she doesn't want him to have shared custody, and the courts are granting her full custody until he can get a real job. So he loves his children so much that he needs to do something to stay with them. So he dresses as a Scottish nanny named Mrs. Doubtfire, and with the help of his brother and his brothers. I don't know if in the film if they were lovers. Probably. We didn't talk about things like that in the 90s. It was very repressed. But yes, his brother, who specializes in makeup and prosthetics and everything, and his boyfriend or makeup partner in that movie maybe help him transform himself. So, and that's basically what this musical is about, since it is based on that. What's marvelous is I think Mrs. Doubtfire the musical really opens things up a lot more. Plus, there's more singing in that than there was in the movie. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire is very special to me. Here's a poster that I've had hanging forever in the living room, even during I think, I think during the pandemic, I got this poster, and because everything had shut down, and Mrs. Doubtfire is sort of representative to me of the theater during the time of the pandemic, because Mrs. Doubtfire had started previews in 2020, in March of 2020, and I think they did 3 previews, and then everything shut down, and then they didn't return until late fall of it might have even been December of 2021. And Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway struggled because they had, it's a family musical, and families couldn't really come to the theater because I think at that time children hadn't received any vaccines, and you had to have a vaccine to get into the theater. You had to show your card and everything. The audiences were still masked when it came back. It just had a terrible time finding an audience and keeping it. And back then, if a few people got COVID in the production, the whole thing would shut down for a number of days. And so Mrs. Doubtfire didn't last very long, but it did get a Tony nomination, one Tony nomination for Rob McClure, who you will remember from Something Rotten um, Chaplin, Charlie Chaplin. I didn't see Chaplin the musical. I have the CD. I need to listen to it. Um, and he's been in lots of things. He's been in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He was in an episode of Julia, the Julia Child show that's on I forget what channel that's on, HBO Max, or now just Max. So he's quite known in the theater, and he's a working character actor in the TV world too. But yes, we're so lucky because we get Rob McClure on this tour. And there he is. You know, during the pandemic, they put out, the cast of Mrs. Doubtfire did one of those videos where everybody's singing the song As Long as There Is Love, which is one of my favorites. Not just favorite from Mrs. Doubtfire. I think the song is just so happy and so perfect. It's an end of the show song. And I think it's just such a perfect, peppy, happy, just wrap everything up in a big old hug kind of song. And it's very catchy, too. Me and my roommate Marco always played the song while Blackie Humphrey would eat his food, and we would sing along and say, as long as there is love. They have a lot of good songs in this. The show is music and lyrics by Wayne Kirkpatrick and Carrie Kirkpatrick, and the book is by Carrie Kirkpatrick and John O'Farrell, based on the 20th Century Studios motion picture. And here is that page in the playbill. Yes, so during the pandemic, I would listen to that song, and all the cast was performing on there. It was so sad. Everybody was separated. And this show was, all set to open. The young woman who played the daughter, what is her name? The character's name, that is. Lydia. And they also have a son named Christopher and a little girl named Natalie. But the young actress who played Lydia had just moved to New York during the right before the pandemic, and had her apartment, and she had to give it up. Give up her apartment and move back in with her parents. And it was like everything I read, there was a big article during that time about how they had set their pen down on the script, and that pen was still there 18 months later. It was just very, very depressing. So this show I was really looking forward to seeing, and it didn't disappoint. And guess what? Rob McClure is married to his leading lady, Maggie Lakis. Is it pronounced Lakis? I need to find out. My apologies if it's not. And they're married in real life, but divorced on the stage. So, here's the cast. The cast was very good. Everybody's great. The three children have a song called What the Hell that I really like. If I ever did this show at a dinner theater in Sarasota, Florida, I would want to play Mr. Jolly. I always imagine what roles I would get if I were in a show, and I always give myself like the smallest roles possible. It's just fun to be part of the company. But so this show is a lot of fun, and I already had the poster, of course. And I wanted a shirt, but nothing really jumped out and grabbed me. I got this beautiful magnet. Help is on the way, dear. And They used to have a couple of different magnets that were online, I believe. They were sort of green. I thought about getting those, but this will be fine. And of course, the playbill. That's Blackie Humphrey shaking his collar, if you hear. Blackie, come here. Come here. And so, yes, I went with Marco, and we had pretty good seats in the mezzanine. This show had its out-of-town tryout at the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle in November of 2019. Opened on Broadway finally, officially, in 2021. It went to Manchester in 2022 and the West End in 2023. And now, also for 2023, the national tour started. So I think we're heading toward the end of the tour, or at least the latter part of the tour. We'll go over tour dates shortly. And I double checked. It's not like when I reviewed A Strange Loop, and when I did the video, I thought that they were on a national tour, and then I saw it was a West Coast premiere with just San Francisco and Los Angeles. So my apologies if I got anyone's hopes up. But this is the North American tour. Let's look at some pictures from the theater. I think it's all right to show you this, if you don't tell. Because outside the theater, they had this picture of the makeup job that Rob McClure has. Isn't that amazing? And the mask was pretty easy to take off and on because they did such quick changes. There was a song called "He Lied to Me" with like a flamenco dancer, and they're in a restaurant, and Daniel has a job interview dinner with a lady from the TV station at the same restaurant where he's also, as Mrs. Doubtfire, running back and forth. He's with the family, with his 3 children, though he's dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, and it's his wife's birthday, or ex-wife's birthday, and of course she's there with her new love interest. And so he runs to the bathroom. They help him, his brother and the boyfriend help. He might even be his husband, because they're adopting a child, the brother and the husband. But yes, they help him do a quick change. Then he comes out as himself and has the meeting with the lady, and running back and forth, and very fast changes. And it was Rob McClure. It wasn't like a body double or anything. But yes, so the cast is very good, as I said. But I just love that makeup job. Now, in the lobby, they had, before you go in, they had all these different things. We had a different Stuart Dunmire, who's the love interest in the movie, was played by Pierce Brosnan. We had Neil Starkenberg playing the role, and see, it caused a chain reaction of different people filling in for different people's tracks in the show. Here was the view from our seat. So, a very good view. I didn't mind it. Here's outside of the Pantages Theater. Even though there's so much you can do with these marquees that have the moving pictures and everything on them, the digital. I'm still old-fashioned. I liked the stationary signs that didn't move, that didn't do anything. They just lit up. But yeah, that's fine. So, yes, that was. But we went to the 1:00 show on a Sunday, and it was the very last day. So I said, if Rob McClure is not on, and I will have to try and for the 6:30 show, or travel to another city to see him. So, but luckily he was there. Okay, so here are the dates. Mrs. Doubtfire is now through in Los Angeles, but you can see it for the whole month of July in San Francisco at the Orpheum Theater. It is then going to Las Vegas, Nevada. Then it's on to Reno, Nevada. Then, and we're already up in September, Salt Lake City, Utah, September 10th through the 15th. Why they have such a short run? Tempe, Arizona, September 17th through the 22nd. Costa Mesa, California, September 24th through October 6th. See, that's where I would have had to have gone if Rob McClure had been out when I saw it. Sacramento, California, my friends up in Sacramento, you should go. October 8th through October 13th, short run. West Palm Beach, Florida at the Kravis Center, October 29th through November 3rd. It'll be a little Halloween treat. Maybe kids will come dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire. Wouldn't that be fun? On to Fort Worth, Texas, November 5th through November 10th. Then Tulsa, Oklahoma, November 12th through November 17th. And then the last one that they have listed on the website is Appleton, Wisconsin. That's November 19th through November 24th. So a Thanksgiving treat. And you can sign up at their website. Just go online, and it's at mrsdoubtfirebroadway.com. I do not own stock in the show. I just like to promote. But anyway, I really liked Mrs. Doubtfire. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked it better than Tootsie. You know, they're both sort of gender-bending, cross-dressing for a different reason than just to be cross-dressing type of shows. And I liked Mrs. Doubtfire better. What can I say? So if you get a chance, check it out and get yourself a magnet, and we'll be talking about other things the next time that it's Christmas time. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.